Title: The Lighthouse Keeper's Promise. Segment 1. The Past. The lighthouse stood at the edge of the world, or at least it felt that way. Salt-stained stones, a spiral staircase of iron, and a lantern once bright enough to guide ships through fog and storm. But now the sea was quiet, and so was the lighthouse. Its keeper, an elderly man named Elias, had lived there for more than 40 years. Every evening, as the sky turned from gold to violet, Elias walked up the winding stairs to the lantern room. Even though the light no longer worked, he polished the glass and wiped the rails, as if tending to an old friend. Some nights he would pause halfway up the stairs, place his hand on the cool stone, and whisper, "Still here." Still keeping watch. Long ago, before the storms and the silence, he had promised someone he loved, a young woman named Marin, that he would keep the lighthouse shining as long as ships sailed the bay. But time had carried Marin away, and the ships had stopped coming. Still, Elias stayed. A promise was a promise. Segment 2. The Turning Point. One autumn night, a storm rolled in without warning. The waves rose high enough to claw at the rocks, and the wind moaned like 1,000 voices. Elias stood at the top of the tower, staring out into the blackness. There, through sheets of rain, he thought he saw a flicker of light. Not from his tower, but from the sea itself. It was a small boat, no bigger than a fishing skiff, battling the waves. Elias's heart pounded. He hadn't seen a vessel out here in years. Without thinking, he ran down the stairs and into the generator room. Dust and cobwebs clung to every surface, but the old generator still sat there, waiting. His hands shook as he turned the crank and pressed the ignition switch. Nothing. He tried again, whispering a prayer. A cough of smoke, a spark, and then the light flared to life. The beam cut across the storm like a golden sword. The boat turned toward the light. Slowly, painfully, it edged closer to shore, until at last Elias could make out a lone figure at the oars. A young woman, soaked and trembling, her eyes fixed on the lighthouse. Segment 3. Resolution and Reflection. Hours later, the storm eased. The woman lay wrapped in a blanket by the fire inside the keeper's cottage. She told Elias her name was Alina. She had been caught in the storm, her navigation failing, and had prayed for a sign. Then she saw the lighthouse beam, a beam she had been told no longer existed. Elias listened, silent, feeling the weight of his years and the quiet joy in his chest. He thought of Marin, of his promise, and of the countless nights he had stood alone. Perhaps, he thought, the lighthouse wasn't just a building. It was a bridge between lives, past and present. When the dawn came, the sea lay calm and silver under the rising sun. Alina prepared to leave, but before she did, she pressed a small object into Elias's hand, a compass engraved with a single word: hope. As she walked down to her repaired boat, Elias climbed the tower one last time. He placed the compass on the lantern's base and looked out over the water. The light still shone, cutting through the morning mist. And for the first time in years, Elias smiled. He whispered into the sea air, "A promise kept."